good evening, and good evening, everyone. Hope you are doing well, feeling good. Maybe you're settling in for the night, laying down with your phone above you like this. Make sure you don't drop it on your face because I've done that several times and it's not pleasant. Or maybe you're riding the train and the bus is what I was trying to say. Anyways, or maybe you're in an attic. Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you're doing well as today we dive into a little bit with the Byrds. We're going to listen to this track 5D. Fifth Dimension. This is off of their album, Fifth Dimension, third studio album, which was released in 1966. We're taking a look and a listen to this, as this was suggested by Richard. So, Richard, thank you so much for the request and the support. I appreciate that. And I see that this has also been suggested, or at least mentioned, by Space Lab, AK, Glenn, and AK one more time as well. So thank you guys as well for the suggestion. Okay. So the other day, I actually thought about the Byrds. Honestly, it had nothing to do with their music. I was out on a run, and they were paving like a new path and kind of working on the trail that I run. And they had installed some signs relatively recently that say, "Do not feed the birds." And I was trying to think of a joke. Like, sometimes I think of jokes in my head, and I just kind of work it out in my head. And I was trying to think of a joke like if the Byrds, the band, were touring, and like that sign was like on a restaurant, like "Don't feed the birds" for some reason. I don't know. I didn't really like cook the joke completely. It was still working on it. Anyways, let's go ahead and listen to the track. We'll discuss it a little bit after. Here we go.
Oh, how is it that I could come out to here and be still floating and never hit bottom and keep falling through, just relaxed and paying attention? All my two-dimensional boundaries were gone. I had lost to them badly. I saw that world crumble and thought I was dead, but I found my senses still working. And as I continued to drop through the hole, I found all surrounding to show me that joy innocently is. Just be quiet and feel it around you. And I opened my heart to the whole universe, and I found it was loving. And I saw the great blunder my teachers had made, scientific delirium madness. Oh, I will keep falling as long as I live, or without ending. And I will remember the place that is now, that has ended before the beginning. Oh, how is it that I could come out to here and be still floating and never hit bottom and keep falling through, just relaxed and paying attention?
Love that organ behind the guitar work there. That was really, really fantastic, and almost has a slight Doors-esque kind of sound to it, the way that they have that direction they're going on at the end. Okay, what stood out most to me, besides this being a nice rocking back and forth swinging of a folk psychedelic kind of track, is actually the drumming from Michael Clark here. The drumming, now, maybe we can learn together a little bit today. The drumming, would this be an example of syncopation on the drumming? Like, basically, instead of, of course, it maintaining a strict defined beat, it's almost like the drummer is moved a little bit ahead of the music, or the rhythm is in a different kind of rotation that almost produces something unusual to the music here, but it still works. I may be wrong. I think that's what syncopation is. I've never looked into and it's in specifically, but either way, the way that he performs the drums are really cool, actually. I love the way that it kind of starts off in a way that we would expect, but then he starts to move it around a little bit. He begins to delay the snare so that the count is a little bit different than where it was before. And then his fills throughout are also really nice, and it kind of rounds about things in a movement that is simple on one hand, but it adds a little bit of a complication to the music as well. And I think the way that he drums really brings this song and lifts it even more than it could have been, And I think that he really just brings a nice essence into the rhythm of this track. It makes it really interesting, and you don't know quite where it's going to go in its very, very short runtime, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And this hits that kind of Beatles quality, where in a short duration, they are able to fit in so much. Not only that, but the anthemic chorus with obviously the vocals from everyone in the band. I'm not sure who's leading necessarily in this one, but whoever's leading, great. I love how they all ring in on the chorus in this really anthemic way, which in that swinging rhythm adds a certain weight to the music here. And then the guitar, that's going to be Jim McGuinn here. I love that solo at the end, and it's just a quick, I didn't even know when it started, but it's a very quick solo with a very, very fast fade out as well. But then, like I said, the way that the organ backs it up is really, really fantastic. That's going to be Van Dyke Parks on the organ performing this track. And it just all comes together in a very swift, catchy, and yet in its own particular way, progressive and unique song. I think that it works incredibly well. I love the drumming, though. I think that that's a huge standout on this one. Oh, how is it that I could come out to here and be still, floating, and never hit bottom and keep falling through, just relaxed and paying attention? Like, how did I get here? And I'm still floating. No ends. Haven't quite hit a shore of certain terms. All my two-dimensional boundaries were gone. I had lost to them badly. I saw that world crumble and thought I was dead, but I found my senses still working. He's almost having a dissolution of soul or a dissolution of boundaries for this particular moment. His two-dimensional boundaries were gone. He's exceeded those. He's passed those. He's lifted past those. Perhaps into the 3D space, so to speak. And as I continued to drop through the hole I found all surrounding to show me that joy innocently is just be quiet and feel it around you. Don't put too much thought into it. Just feel it. And I opened my heart to the whole universe, and I found it was lovin'. And I saw the great blunder my teachers had made, scientific delirium madness. So he's opened his heart, he's opened his soul, and he's found love in return. He's just opened himself in that way. So this is very much that kind of 60s and early 70s, peace and love kind of direction thematically. And then he blames his teachers for, in a sense, perhaps holding him back and creating those boundaries that he's mentioned previously. I will keep falling as long as I live, all without ending, and I'll remember the place that is now that has ended before the beginning. So his version of keep falling is actually in a way to keep being free, to keep learning, experiencing, growing, and progressing. Perhaps at some point he will reach an end, as we all do, but he's going to keep on falling. And he just repeats the chorus there, just relaxed and paying attention. Instead of being so stringent and tight and restrained, relax, pay a little bit of attention, and that's how he's finding that true joy and, like I said, perhaps true love. Looking at this particular track and the information, it was released as a single in '66. McGuinn has described the song's lyrics as an attempt to explain Einstein's theory of relativity, and as having been directly inspired by the book 1, 2, 3, 4 More by Don Landis. In an interview, he stated, "It's sort of weird, but what I'm talking about is the whole universe, the fifth dimension, which is height, width, depth, time, and something else. But there are definitely more dimensions than 5. It's infinite. The fifth dimension is the threshold of scientific knowledge." He further explained 5D was an ethereal trip into metaphysics, into an almost Muslim submission to an Allah, an almighty spirit, free-floating, the fifth dimension being the mesh, which Einstein theorized about. He proved theoretically, but I choose to believe it. Says the song's abstract lyrics were largely interpreted by the band's audience about being an LSD trip. I can see that, much to McGunn's dismay. The notion that the song was about psychedelic drugs was given further credence when it was singled out within a month of its release by Variety magazine as one of a recent spat of pop songs containing references to illegal drug use. As a result, it was banned by some radio stations in the U.S. The song features Bach-influenced organ and piano playing, electric that is, of Van Dyke Parks, as we mentioned. Hit number 44 on the Billboard Hot 100, but failed to chart in the UK. And it goes on and on from there. Once again, a really great quality track with a lot of standouts in there, all in a very short amount of time. I'm always impressed when a band can do that, create a great work of art and a great track in such a short amount of time. Because you can easily let things go, but to get it that tight, it's really, really, really good. Let me know what you guys thought, of course, in the comments down below. I always appreciate you being here, watching, hopefully having a good time. Richard, thank you so much for the support as well and the request. I truly appreciate that. Hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. Come back tomorrow. Don't feed the birds. See you guys.